This is the plant the next day. It's perked up quite a bit. Down at the ends of the long stems, some of the leaves are still quite wilted, but I do believe that they will fill out again. There are also some of these really long stems that don't have any leaves left on them, so I'll go ahead and trim those back. Near the base of the plant, there are some old thick stems that also don't have any leaves on them, and I don't expect them to grow back on their own, so I do have a trick for that. This is a product called keiki paste or keiki paste. It's leaf growth hormones in a gel. You smear it onto the node of your plant, and it will block the oxygen and supply the node with hormones that cause it to grow. I got this on Amazon. It does look like a pretty small bottle. You really don't need a lot, and you can actually get quite a lot of use out of it. Here I am just applying it to these nodes. The instructions do say to do just one single node at a time. However, I have found that the pothos plant is happy to grow multiple new leaves at once. So I just apply it to a bunch of nodes and see what takes. I was pretty excited to see this new baby leaf had already started to grow on the stem all on its own. Looking at the oldest stems near the roots, the stems here are brown and woody, so it's possible that they won't respond and grow new leaves. I'm just giving it a try anyway, just to see what happens. I've chosen to trim off these long stems instead of use the keiki paste because it's going to look a lot better and fuller if it regrows them from scratch. Now I have these stems that I'm going to propagate. Each of these nodes is a growth point where it can grow new roots and leaves. So I'm going to trim this into a bunch of little pieces so each piece has its own node. Some of these are a little longer because they've been stretching looking for sunlight, but they still should each have just one node. Hopefully all of these will grow into their whole own plant. Now that I've cut off all the extra stems, I'm left with these long pieces that still have leaves on them. These are great, and they should grow more quickly because they can still photosynthesize. Basically, I want one leaf per propagation, and then I also want to save 1 or 2 nodes below each leaf. I'll just go ahead and trim away the extra nodes so it's not so long, and I will keep the last 1 or 2 nodes below a leaf. For this one, I had 2 leaves in a row, so I chose to keep both leaves on the same propagation. I usually use filtered water for my plants and propagations, but tap water is also just fine. I want to see if a longer cutting with no leaves and a shorter cutting with no leaves can grow in just water. So I'm going to do a little experiment with these pieces. Unfortunately, single leaves with no node cannot grow, so it goes away. Now it's time to put my water propagations in a sunny spot and wait for them to grow. The remainder of my leafless nodes will be going into prop boxes. All you need to make a prop box is a container with clear sides and some sphagnum moss. Wet the sphagnum moss and squeeze out all of the extra moisture so it's not dripping. Then you'll lay a thin layer across the bottom of your box. Poke a bunch of holes into one of the surfaces of your box to allow airflow. The ventilation should allow your plants to respirate and also help prevent mold growth. With my boxes ready, I'll go ahead and add in all of my cuttings. I'm just trying to kind of get them evenly spread out. I am closing the lid so that I don't lose all of my moisture. I will water these occasionally if they dry out, but for the most part, they don't need anything. This was a box that I made previously. I've grown many things in it. Currently, it has the remainders of a neon pothos that just never grew from me from the moment I bought it. It seemed like it was never rooted to begin with, and it's just struggled. These were all single nodes with one leaf that was cut in half, And the reason for that is because leaves can lose a lot of moisture. And if you cut them, it reduces the moisture loss, but still allows the plant to photosynthesize. This was really a last-ditch effort for this plant, so that's why this box may not look successful. This one with the multiple colors on one leaf, I feel so fortunate. This one actually looks like it is starting to grow some new roots. I'm gonna move it to a water cup and see how it does from there. An option for your cuttings is rooting powder. I do not like to use this because I typically put my cuttings directly into water where it would just wash off. But if you are putting your cuttings into dirt, this is a good option. For my prop boxes, I just simply chose not to, but I think it could be successful. My prop boxes will go where there is a lot of light and warmth, so they'll have the best chance to grow. For me, the best place for that is my sunroom. Last time I tried growing pothos from just nodes with no leaves, it ended up taking several months for them to grow starter leaves. So it just takes a while with this method. If they still have their leaves, it's a matter of days or weeks. We'll just give this one some time and we'll see what it does.